Michelle Garcia, one of my former students. Never gets old listening to her sing. Hi.
So, we talked to Michelle earlier. No. So you see this?
Yeah.
Certainly could have been a 9 turned into an 8.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, hockey fans of all ages, welcome into AZF Arena for tonight's game between the Xaverian Hawks and your Brockton Boxers. As always, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson, and I am joined alongside tonight by the athletic director of the Brockton High School, Mr. Kevin Cairo. Brockton coming in with a record of 3-7-3. Xaverian, on the other hand, 6-5-3. Mr. Cairo, we haven't seen action here at AZF Arena in a couple of weeks, but this is the first game in quite a long home stretch for the Boxers.
Yeah, I think the next 6 games are at home. Even though technically Saturday we're playing at away, but away uses this as their home rink. So
Xaverian wearing their away navy blue jerseys with gold trim, the Hawks with white numbers. Brockton, on the other hand, their home whites with black and red trim, and the big boxer paw on the shoulders.
Matt, you were the master of the obvious.
16 seconds into the first period, Brockton starting with their scoring line of Anthony Paul, Frank Atten, and Jalen Bridges. Ben Martin is not playing tonight. He has come down with an illness. Xaverian into the Boxer zone. A pass intended for number 7, Steve Jervis, is knocked out into the neutral zone. Justin Crookshank to chase this one down. Interesting note, the starting goaltender for the Xaverian Hawks, Cameron Dutra, hails from the city of Champions.
Yeah, I don't like to hear that, Matt. But there's really not much we can do about it, and hopefully as the years go on and we can build our programs up, the kids won't want to leave Brockton.
Shot stick saved by Adam Stagnon, and he poke checked it out to the blue line. A slap pass over to number 18 off the leg of Crookshank. That was Henry Bruckner, and this one deflects all the way out into the neutral zone, where Xaverian puts it right back in the Boxer zone. Sylvia over to Crookshank. Crookshank off the boards out into the neutral zone. Bridges challenging there. Delayed offsides waved off as Brockton tagged up. And Brockton changes out. And now the Marissa Massaro line on the ice. Peyton Sylvia able to poke it away, and Massaro picks it up, 3-on-3 up ice. Massaro dumps it in, and this will be chased down by Nathan El-Shami. Out to the blue line, and Xaverian has been pretty dominant in the few opportunities Brockton's had in the defensive zone thus far. 2 minutes into the first period. This is number 12, Peter Sylvia. Sylvia in a puck battle in the corner. Massaro also there. A couple of Xaverian Hawks pressuring, keeping the puck on the boards, and Xaverian comes away with it. And now a 3-on-2 up ice for the Hawks. Left behind in the slot, a shot, pad saved by Stagg, and the rebound trickled to the end boards. Danny Brown back around the boards.
Certainly don't want to see too much of that. When they're 2-on-1 down in your own zone.
Igor Borshev, the sophomore forward, one of the scoring leaders for the Xaverian Hawks. 7 goals, 11 assists, good for 18 points. A shot off the outside of the post.
Is he a transfer from somewhere in central Ukraine?
He's got to be. He's got to be. Probably went to the Pavel Datsuk Academy. Peyton Sylvia chasing this one down beyond the end line. Off the boards for number 17. He's got some space into the slot for number 4. Shot and kind of handcuffed Stagg. That was Jared Grier with that opportunity for the Hawks. Xaverian completely dominating the Brockton Boxers in offensive zone time and scoring opportunities thus far. Anthony Paul looking to change this around the boards, looking for Frank Atten.
We knew this was going to be a test coming in tonight. And after they played BR on Saturday, and Coach Cunningham thought that they definitely had their best game of the season, even though they lost the lead late in the game to tie 2-2. He was just really pleased with the way the kids are coming together and playing together, and I'm just hoping that they peak at the right time going into the tournament, and this will be a good test tonight.
Crookshank off the boards, and Yet another clearing opportunity broken up by the Xaverian Hawks. Brockton, one of their recent road games was at Durfee and New Bedford. They won both of those to pretty much wrap up the Big Three, 3-0 in the division. So Brockton will get the automatic berth into the MIAA South Sectional Playoffs. The last couple of years they have been knocked out by this very same Xaverian team. Off a stanchion, takes a funky bounce wide to the right of the goal, and Xaverian able to recover. Zach Sylvia pressuring the puck to keep it in at least for a few more seconds. Now backhanded saucer pass up to number 3, Adam Cookson. His shot is into the protective netting. 4.5 minutes into the first period, still scoreless between the Xaverian Hawks and the Brockton Boxers. Used to be a great athletic rivalry between these two teams.
Yeah.
Especially in football, and then Xaverian kind of ran away with that one.
Well, once again, we see some kids from Brockton going to the private schools, and like I said, there's nothing you can do about it except we need to just keep on building on what we have here. It's a good save.
On the rebound attempt, another excellent stick save by Adam Stagnone. He has been very strong tonight. Xaverian able to keep it in once again. Losing an edge was Cookson, and Brockton's able to get it out into the neutral zone, and now number 11 picks it up, Ryan Dew. Xaverian right back into Brockton's zone. Massaro comes away with this one. High off the glass, looking initially for Al Birmingham, the freshman defenseman. Xaverian comes away with it courtesy of Will Wolford. Out to the blue line for Captain Henry Bruckner.
Oh, boy.
Excellent
Oh, boy.
save by Stagg.
Oh.
Off of an opportunity that he gave up. He tried poking it away and holding it with his stick on the outside of the apron. Xaverian was able to poke it
They
away.
got away with one there.
Brockton changes out all 5 skaters. 9:08 to go. We face off in the Brockton defensive zone. Adam Stagnone, pretty much the only reason that this game is still scoreless. Xaverian, again, completely dominating in scoring opportunities. Cruikshank trying to get it around the boards. It's held in by Borshev. Borshev out in front off the outside of the apron, and Cruikshank again off the boards. And this one goes all the way down into Xaverian zone.
I just need to catch a lucky break or a lucky bounce. Maybe somebody trips and falls over the blue line and gives us a breakaway.
Drop pass, slap shot off the foot of Justin Cruikshank. Excellent block shot there. Now a 100-foot shot by number 23, Louis Goyette. Goes wide. Now Cruikshank.
Is that a stick in front of the net? It was. It was the goalie's stick that he actually dropped. See, those are little things that you have to just hope for. Bad break. And not that I want to wish ill will on anybody, but sometimes that's what you need.
8:16 to go in the first period. Still scoreless.
Honestly, I was just trying to think. The last time I was in this rink was when we played one of our Big 3 games, and we had to play with a running clock.
New Bedford. Running clock. The air conditioner was on. It was about 10 degrees in here.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see the air conditioner is working right ahead of a foot, possibly a foot and a half of snow tomorrow. Xaverian, D-to-D passing off of the end boards. Now bring it all the way up into the Brockton zone. The soft side's going to be whistled down, and a face-off in the neutral zone. 7:45 left to go in the first period. Last time these two teams met, Xaverian with a 6-1 victory in the first round of the MIAA playoffs last year. And before that, when the Hawks came to AZF Arena, it was 5-0 in favor of the Hawks.
So we're due. That's what you're trying to tell me.
We're due. Peyton Sylvia fighting for it. It finds its way into the back corner of the crease. Stagnone able to deflect it away. Sylvia putting the hit to free up the puck. Now Zach Sylvia backhanding it around, looking for
Look out.
Atten, and he's able to clear it all the way down the ice. Icing waved off. Atten comes away with the turnover, looking for Anthony Paul, who was in the high slot. Now a shot off the foot of Peyton Sylvia, and he gets up limping a little bit.
Yeah, he'll be fine. There it is, 2-on-1.
2-on-1, Anthony Paul and Frank Atten, two of Brockton's most potent scorers. Anthony Paul shot. The blocker saved by Dutra. And on the rebound attempt, Atten put it wide.
Oh, but I like that. Anthony made a good decision to go right at the goalie instead of trying to make that extra pass that probably wasn't a high percentage pass. So put a shot on net, crazy things happen. Maybe get a juicy rebound.
Number 23, Drew Scalaro, freshman defenseman on the ice, pressuring from beyond the goal line. This one deflects out in front, and Stagg stopped it with his stick and dove on it for the face-off. 5:53 to go in the first period. Still scoreless. Brockton getting a few things going in the offensive zone. Nothing to show for it yet, but it's all about momentum.
It's all about the mojo.
Xaverian winning the face-off. A shot pad saved by Stagnone. On the rebound attempt, number 5, putting this one wide, Danny Brown. Now Peyton Sylvia with Scalaro in the corner. Scalaro comes away with it, backhands it right into the stick of Peter Sylvia, who takes it out into the neutral zone. Scalaro lost an edge, and now Brockton in the
that should have been
Xaverian zone.
Oh.
Sticked away by Dutra. Now Peyton Sylvia. Whistle blows. I believe this one deflected up into the Xaverian bench, so we face off in the neutral zone. On Brockton's half of the red line, 5:10 to go.
No, we don't have any advertising timeouts, do we? The red light goes and they stop play for cable.
No.
No.
Not in community access. Anthony Paul almost setting up another 2-on-1, backhanding this one away. Sylvia to number 20, who lost an edge, took a hawk out with him. That was Jalen Bridges. Now Steve Jervis in the corner, bringing it.
That's what I think. They have to be physical with this team. They cannot let the play come to them. They're going to have to push the envelope a little bit, and not get beaten up and pushed around. I think Coach Cunningham's done a good job prepping them.
High off glass, the Xaverian Hawk losing an edge. We're gonna.
Yeah, that's one of the keys to the game, Matt. To make sure that your skates are sharpened, because it is a sheet of ice down there. And that we've seen a couple blown tires already today.
Well, no loss in manpower, so I'm assuming that the high off the glass actually hit the protective netting. This one deflected just wide off the stick of Will Wolford, the senior forward. 8 goals, 6 assists for him on the year.
Well, I'm just looking. Some of that protective netting is almost at eye level up here. So that's not too tough to do.
One of my absolute favorite aspects of Staff Gymnasium. You don't see it anywhere else. But here at Staff, there's protective netting all the way around the ice.
Yeah. And some of it, it's just hanging there. Kind of reminds me of maybe in a little tiki bar down in Key West.
Just under 4 minutes to go, still scoreless. Peter Sylvia and Massaro pressuring out into the slot. Brought down by Nathan El-Shami. Peter Sylvia dumping this one in, chasing it all the way. This Boxer team consisting of 3 Sylvias. Off the outside of the apron now. The net's a little bit loose on the moorings. This is Peter with it now. Peter to Marissa Massaro.
Kept it onside.
.310 to go now, and Xaverian back the other way with some room to skate as number 12, Danny Ryan. His shot deflects wide. Josh Barton, sophomore forward. Xaverian with a very young team, which is a scary thought. Broken up by Peter Sylvia. Looking for the one-timer was Danny Ryan. Xaverian back in the Boxer zone.
There we go. Gotta ride him into the boards. Don't let him just skate around.
Zach Sylvia had it poked away, which found Frank Atten. Atten up to Bridges. Bridges looking for Paul, doesn't connect. This one sent all the way down the ice. That hit the stick of goaltender Adam Stagnone, but whistled for an icing anyway.
Are you sure about that? You are.
I heard it.
Can we get an instant replay on that?
Well, the referee seems to agree with me.
Yeah.
The face-off coming,
No, I think he heard you.
maybe both. 2:14 to go, face-off in the Brockton defensive zone.
Thanks, Matt.
All good things
Okay, here it
come
is.
of bad things. 2-on-1. Anthony Paul to Jalen Bridges. His shot off the
hit
post.
the post. Oh, God.
All off of a turnover in the Brockton defensive zone
Gotta put it on net. Shoot it.
that I caused.
Yep.
So, credit one scoring opportunity to Mad Dog. 1:40 to go in the first period, and a breakaway, a 2-on-0 actually for Xaverian. Looking past a shot and a goal for number 15. That is Will Wolford, assisted by Igor Borshev, and Xaverian goes up with 1.5 minutes to go. For those of you that think that was my fault, I did what I could. I created the scoring opportunity for the Boxers.
You paint it any way you want.
They did not convert, and Xaverian took 200 feet down the ice.
Uncontested, too.
Uncontested, 2-on-0.
Yeah.
Xaverian goals by number 15, Will Wolford, assisted by number 16 and number 9.
Andrew McInerney also credited with the secondary assist on that goal. Shot pad saved by Stagg, deflected. Putback attempt off the crossbar.
Off the crossbar, and that was a bomb.
And that one off the crossbar to the protective netting. Face off in the Brockton zone. 1 minute, 9 seconds to go. And Xaverian up 1-0, courtesy of Will Wolford. El-Shami to Peter Sylvia. He dumps it in. Looking for Zach Sylvia, who looks like he has shifted a little bit to a pseudo-forward position. Crookshank stopping the Xaverian rush at least momentarily. This one sticked away by Adam Stagnone. 45 seconds to go now. Kept in by Henry Bruckner. Now Massaro high off glass. Bruckner keeping it in yet again.
And this is where they can't get careless down here in the closing seconds of the period. This is what happened last time that I was here. They just got a little sloppy, a little lazy, and gave up a goal, I think, with like 1 second left.
Yeah. 1 second remaining in the
If they can go into the period down 1-0, you know, they've got to be feeling pretty good. Chasing 2, I think that's just going to be big hill to climb.
9.1 seconds on the clock. Stoppage and a face-off incoming.
That was hard to believe that walking over here, it's 40 degrees and less than 12 hours we'll be in blizzard conditions.
Welcome to New England. 5 seconds to go, last second shot. Gloved by Adam Stagnone. He holds on, hoping for the clock to expire. There'll be one more face-off and maybe a one-timer from the point for Xaverian.
Why would you say something like that? Why?
I'm always wrong. See that? Brockton wins the face-off, and the backhanded shot goes wide. The buzzer sounds, and we go into the first break. 1-0 Xaverian Hawks. Mr. Caro, what did you see in the first period that Brockton was able to hold the Hawks to 1 goal, and what does Brockton have to do to come back?
Well, I just think they have to be a little more aggressive, especially when the Hawks come in the zone. I think they need to be just a little more physical and just push the envelope a little bit and hope for a good break, make some opportunities just by playing hard, and they have to feel pretty good going into the end of the first, being only down 1-0.
Again, the score at the end of the first period, 1-0, the Xaverian Hawks leading the Brockton Boxers, courtesy of Will Wolford from Igor Borshev and Andrew McInerney. We're going to step aside and take a short break and bring you second period action right after this.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Class, today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Here's Coach Chris Cunningham. Coach, a goal with 1:32 remaining in the first period puts the team down 1-0. What did you see before that, and what's the strategy going into the second?
Well, I thought we were doing a good job of keeping the pressure to the outside, so we didn't have any odd man rushes up until that point. I told the guys, you got to be sure before you make a dangerous pass like that. I'd rather keep it on the wall and throw pucks to the net than make that dangerous pass, especially 1:32 left in the period.
Adam Stagnone has been a savior in net so far. What is he going to keep going, or are you going to try to give him a little bit more defense in front?
Well, we need him to come up big. We told him a lot of face-offs, slow the pace down, and I told the guys good sticks in the defensive zone, and try and chip the pucks out to relieve some pressure.
Coach, good luck in the second. Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, hockey fans of all ages, welcome back into AZF Arena for second period action between the Xaverian Hawks and your Brockton Boxers. We come into the second period with Xaverian up 1-0 over the Brockton Boxers, courtesy of a goal by Will Wolford, assisted by Igor Borshev, with 1:32 remaining in the first. Again, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson, joined alongside my broadcast partner, the athletic director of Brockton High, Kevin Caro. Icing against Xaverian. This puck will come 200 feet down the ice. Xaverian wearing their away navy blue jerseys, gold and white trim. Brockton, their home white jerseys, black and red trim, boxer head on the stomach. Sylvia unable to keep it in, and that should be a trip, no whistle. So Brockton escaping with one there. Number 6, Tommy Duggan, over to his defensive partner, Danny Brown. Xaverian with it in the Brockton zone, such has been the case most of the game. Xaverian dominating on scoring opportunities and offensive zone time. Brockton only a few scoring opportunities, none of which have been converted. Atten dumping it into the Xaverian zone, picked up by Tommy Duggan. Duggan to Steve Jervis. And he recovers in the neutral zone, takes a huge hit from Atten, and his hardwood goes all the way skidding 50 feet down the ice to the Brockton end line. Brockton picking up the physicality just a little bit here in the second.
Good to be back.
So Brockton already with a couple of big hits. The latest on Stevie Jervis. This one goes for an icing the second of the period against the Xaverian Hawks.
I think one of the things that happens, especially, and I've seen it in basketball and other sports, is if you beat somebody pretty easily the first time around, there's a little bit of an emotional letdown, thinking that the other team's just going to roll over. And I think that may be the case here tonight, where I think that the Hawks may come in a little overconfident.
We're talking to head coach Chris Cunningham between periods. He said he told his goaltender Adam Stagnone, more face-offs, try to hold the puck more, slow down the pace of the game, give Brockton a little bit more time to breathe against a bigger, more physical Xaverian team.
And as long as it's not like 4 seconds left in the period and you can call a quick draw and a slap shot for a quick score. But you wouldn't do anything like that.
No, not me. Number 20 around the boards, that is Matty Ryan. Yes, same name, same spelling. And he shares a digit of his number with the starting quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, this is where I just think that, you know, Brockton's kind of letting them dictate what's going on down in the zone, and almost like they're on a power play. Just be a little more physical, get them unsettled. Like that.
Shot from the point, sticked away by Stagnone, rebounding to the slot, cleared away by the Boxers out into the neutral zone. Xaverian quickly recovers. Josh Barton sends this one off of Sylvia and to the Xaverian Hawks end line. Barton to number 12, his shot off the chest of Stagnone, and an excellent hip check in the slot. Nathan El-Shami just went down on one knee and upended a Xaverian Hawk right in front of Adam Stagnone. And Stag blockers this one away to the half boards. Number 21 for the Boxers, Seamus Sheehan. Say that name 5 times fast.
Former South Dragon. We used to call him She-Dog.
She-Dog. Loose out in front end, a Xaverian goal. Stagnone couldn't cover it up fast enough, and Xaverian able to poke it home. And they go up 2-0 with 10:42 remaining in the second period. Brockton down 2 goals, has to turn it on offensively.
Xaverian goal scored by number
8 bringing this one around.
Assisted by number 8 and number 10.
Henry Bruckner from Pat Stapleton and Shane Connolly on the goal for Xaverian. Frank Atten backhanding it in. He finds the backhanded stick of Henry Bruckner. Bruckner backhanding it over to Jack Tufts. Tufts to Stapleton. Peyton Sylvia takes it away, but Stapleton gets it right back. Jared Grier into the Brockton zone. Into the
They've got to come up and challenge that. I mean, they're just kind of floating back, waiting for the action to be taken to them. And you can only do that so many times before it breaks down.
Anthony Paul launching a shot on Dutra. And that was easily handled. This one sent all the way down for an icing against the Hawks. The third of the second period against the Hawks. Brockton with little time to breathe between face-offs. 9.5 to go in the second period.
I think that's where you're going to see the Boxers struggle a little bit as we get later on in the game, as they just don't have a lot of bench depth, and the fatigue factor sets in. And that's when sometimes you have some mental breakdowns. And
you mentioned the depth note we shared earlier in the season. Brockton only fielding 16 skaters. That does not include the 2 goalies on the roster.
yeah, thanks for reminding me.
We talked about it last year with then athletic director Peter Caruso. He said hockey in Brockton is really what's turning into a dying sport. I mean, we see it with Southeastern Regional, and they tag teamed up with West Bridgewater and another school in there, I think, so they would have enough skaters.
Well, we had a meeting with the mayor and with Mike Thomas probably a month ago, and we talked about that. And one of the things that we were able to do this year is to have some open ice time for some of our junior players to come up and just get ice and just encourage them to come up and just kind of show them this is where they'll be playing. And the good thing is we have 13 kids in 8th grade right now that are all part of the junior hockey program. So that's an encouraging number if they all decide that they want to come to Brockton High.
The other part of that we see with Mr. Dutra in net is quite possibly my favorite rants to go on. It's the Catholic schools are able to recruit and offer these phenomenal facilities and scouts, as we have a Xaverian 2-on-1. A shot, shoulder saved by Stagg.
Great save.
The rebound to the end boards. But the Catholic schools say, oh, you know, you'll definitely get to play in college if you come here, and we have scouts at every game, and this, that, and the other thing. A backhanded shot, top corner, finds the back of the net. Number 7 scoring that goal. That is Steve Jervis. And meanwhile, the public schools are left to deal with what's left.
Yeah, and it's always been the argument that should the Catholics be in their own conference?
I agree. I think they should.
Should they have their own tournament? And just for the fact that they get to basically handpick who comes and plays, and then they have 20, 30 communities to pick from.
In a dream world, or at least as it would stand now, I would say, if you look at the Super 8 tournament in hockey, every single year you got Xaverian, you've got BC High, you've got Catholic Memorial, Malden Catholic, Arlington Catholic, all these schools, more than half of them every year. Then you've got the one outlier.
Yeah, it's somebody like Hingham.
Yeah, Hingham, sometimes Waltham, sometimes Milton. A team like that has a lot of money as a public school to throw around. But there's been talk of should the Catholic conferences have a Super 8 type deal in every sport. And with the championships the last few years going to Xaverian in football, as Xaverian puts another one home, and that brings us to 4-0 with 6.5 to go.
And this is where I think you're just seeing fatigue set in and a little bit of wind taken out of the sails.
So Xaverian up 4-0, potting 3 early in the second. Just north of halfway through the second period. Sticked away by Stagnone.
Danny Ryan.
This goal scored by Danny Ryan, assisted by Josh Barton and Matt Ryan. Anthony Paul on net. He takes a huge hit. And Xaverian 3-on-2 up ice. A shot, and this one goes high. Xaverian's bench thought that was going to be goal number 5 on the evening. Of course, the second half of this whole argument is it's a feeder program for colleges, and that, in my opinion, is what makes Hockey East the best conference.
You don't have to go. You don't have to go very far to find your kids. You really don't.
And for BC, they've pretty much got their own feeder program at Morrissey Boulevard.
Yeah.
BC High, not a team we see on the Brockton hockey schedule.
Nor will you.
Thankfully.
I just, would we like to get to that point eventually? Sure. But, I mean, realistically right now, I just don't think that it's necessary to put our kids through that.
We've already seen Xaverian normally twice a year, once here at home and once in the playoffs.
No, they have to put some pressure. I mean, this kid is just, and it's easy for me to sit up here in the booth and say it, but somebody's got to get on him and just not allow him to come through the zone and shoot at point blank range.
Harvey Duggan behind the net. Junior defenseman clearing it out into the neutral zone, picked up there by Adam Cookson. Shot pops up over the net off of the blocker of Adam Stagnone. A lot of standing around by the boxers in their own zone. And
I just think it's just coming down to, you really have primarily 2 lines going out there. And it's tough. It's tough to keep up this pace of play when you just don't have the depth.
Loose out in front. Stagnone made the initial save, couldn't get his glove down fast enough. Rebound attempt went to the half boards. Now a backhanded shot goes wide off the stick of Danny Brown. Goyette off the boards very lackadaisically. Xaverian able to put it right back in the boxer zone. 3:10 to go in what has been a very long second period for the Brockton Boxers.
Seems like it's definitely tilted going toward that boxer net.
But if there's anything to learn from the Patriots' Super Bowl 51 win,
which I'm still not sure if I've recovered or not.
I definitely haven't. The lesson to be learned is that you could go down 25 points at halftime, and as long as you come out and still try and persevere, and settle into your game and even have a little bit of fun doing it.
And I can't tell you how many times that I've already watched the replay of the game. NFL Network had it on.
Oh, yeah.
Monday night, Tuesday night. They'll have it on tonight. Knowing that I don't have school tomorrow because of the snow, I'll watch it probably 3 nights in a row. Never gets old. But I fast forward through the first half.
Yeah. One thing that I got into a little argument with one of my friends.
You?
They said, there's no reason New England should have won that game. And I said, listen.
Every reason we should have won the game.
That was the worst 2.5 quarters of football I've ever seen. And the middle of the third quarter when the tides turned, and the entire fourth quarter, and then the little bit of overtime that happened, it was the worst quarter and a half of football on the other end.
Yeah. No, I think it goes back to the stat that somebody threw at me the other day, that the Patriots had the ball for 42 minutes. So that defense for Atlanta, for as good as they were in the first half, they just couldn't maintain that pace for a full 42, and it showed.
And the interesting stat that Joe Buck threw out during that game was between the second quarter, in the middle of the first quarter and the second quarter, and then into the third quarter, Atlanta's offense had not been on the field in an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah, with the whole Gaga halftime show and all, yeah, an hour and 6.
And for a football game, that's astounding to me.
That's a major rain delay.
And that included the defensive touchdown by Alford. 1 minute to go in the second period, thankfully for one team. 4-0 the score. The Xaverian Hawks lead the Brockton Boxers. But again, the lesson to be learned earlier this week that hard work, perseverance, and never giving up can result in a championship. And Brockton needs to go over that lesson in the locker room between periods.
I just think what's going to be important for them is it's how they're going to finish. Are they going to roll over and kind of go through the motions the last 15 minutes, or are they going to come out with a little fire and try to put a couple on the board to build some momentum going into Saturday against Oliver Ames? That's what I'm hoping we're going to see.
The interesting note, in interest of full disclosure, Brockton trainer Jerry Connor, her son is a goaltender for Oliver Ames.
Yeah, he got called up as a freshman the other day.
She's all excited about that one, and
yeah, she should
I told her to pop up and visit us, see what she has to say. So 4-0 going into the second intermission. Brockton.
Not happy.
Mr. Caro's not happy. Mr. Caro's not happy. No. 4-0. Brockton will try to get 1 or 2 on the board and see where that leads them. 4-0 end of the second period. We're going to step aside and take a short break and bring you third period action right after this.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it.
You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, hockey fans of all ages, welcome back into AZF Arena for third period action between the Xaverian Hawks and the Brockton Boxers. Once again, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson, joined alongside my broadcast partner, Mr. Kevin Caro. 4-0 the score, the Xaverian Hawks leading the Brockton Boxers after a 3-goal second period. Mr. Caro, the message isn't we need to win. The message is get on the board and see where that leads.
Yeah, and we've seen this with our soccer teams and with the football teams. Win the last period. All right, right now you got to take this as a 1 period, nothing start, and come away with something here. Even if it's 1 or 2 goals, there's something to build for next week as you get closer to tournament time. I think it's just very, very important for them to do that. And they need to be a little more physical. I said that in the first period, and I'll continue to say it. I mean, that's going to be the key to turn this around, is to be a little more physical and put a little more pressure on.
Well, Xaverian has switched out their goaltender. The guy hailing from Brockton, Cam Dutra, finds himself on the bench, and now in senior goaltender Jake Zomick. He's played 2/3 of a game this year. 2 periods, 5 shots, and 5 saves. He's got a perfect save percentage of 1,000. And he is in net, hoping to keep that perfect season going against the Brockton Boxers. You know, we were talking about the Super Bowl in much the same way that all of the regional networks, as Stagnone makes a good glove save, much the way all of the regional sports networks did this week. We go from football right into baseball. Truck day for the Red Sox on Monday.
Was it really? How did I miss that?
This one pops up into the protective netting right in front of us. Truck day for the Red Sox. 2,400 wooden bats. I think it was like
have you seen
6,500 baseballs.
Have you seen the price of a wooden bat? The last time you were in a
not
sporting
recently.
goods store? Go into Dick's next time and make sure you're sitting down when you pick it up, because they are anywhere between $85 to $120 a piece now.
Back in my day, they were like 60.
Oh, they used to give them away.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one bad swing, and you have yourself your fuel for your campfire.
Yeah. And Jack Edwards likes to go on the same rant about carbon fiber hockey sticks. So back to baseball. I teased this a little in between periods. The MLB is considering a few rule changes to help speed up the game. They want to go from having to throw 4 pitches for an intentional walk to throwing 1, saying we're going to intentionally walk them, that's it. They want to raise the strike zone a little bit. And the most interesting one that I saw, they want to start extra innings with a runner on second.
I don't even know what to say about that. Why just not start off with 2 strikes on the batter?
Start with a runner on third.
Well, let's move the mound up 10 feet in extra innings, or
Why
move
not?
it back a couple feet. Oh,
why not?
Baseball has gotten slower because so many pitchers, and we talked about this earlier in the break, have just gone to be specialists, and they come in to face one batter, and there's times where you see 3 or 4 pitching changes in an inning. And I just honestly think if you want to speed up the game and keep the integrity of the game, that the first step would be to limit the number of pitching changes. So you can't have a lefty-lefty, righty-righty matchup. You have a pitcher's job's to get outs. He should be able to get it from guys that hit from both sides of the plate.
I have an alternate theory. As many of our viewers may or may not know, I was a part of Nesson's broadcast team for this past Red Sox and Bruins season.
See,
and
I did not know that.
I think the thing is all the commercialization of broadcast. So you've got 2 minutes and 25 seconds between innings. You shorten that to like 1 minute and 35. Have 2 commercials between each inning.
Yeah.
That'll easily knock off an hour.
But how much money will that cost to Major League Baseball in revenue? And that's where I don't think that they want the best of both worlds. They want a fast game, and they want their advertising money. But I just think that a couple of changes to the rules would speed things up. I mean, going back to when I was in college, if you wanted to walk somebody, you told the umpire, "Hey, put this guy on base," and you went down to first. I don't think that there's any reason that they couldn't do that in the major league level.
And I think trying to alter extra innings is not the way to go about it, because once you get to that point, you've got millions of viewers that are pulling one way or another.
Yeah,
that's not the right way to go about things. You, in my opinion, you want the more extra inning games, the better, because the intensity is more.
There's more
the
strategy
viewership is
involved.
more, and by that point, you're almost running out of pitchers.
Yeah. Oh, I just think that that's a real bad idea, even to entertain, to try it in spring training anywhere. Well, I'm glad they got away with, whoever wins the All-Star game has home field advantage throughout the World Series. That's finally done away with, which is good.
The one thing that I don't like about, I like the way it's formatted now. The higher seeded team is home in the World Series. I think the NFL has to do the same thing. because right now it's alternating years who's home in the Super Bowl. The NFC was home this year. They got to pick their jerseys.
Yep.
The Patriots got to choose the coin flip, etc., etc. If it was purely based on records, the Patriots would have been home field in the Super Bowl.
And did the Falcons do their homework as far as colored jerseys?
No. And they also should have told Matt Ryan to shut it down once Atlanta clinched the playoff spot, because this is the up-to-date stat of the last 8 MVPs that have made the Super Bowl. They have gone 0-8 in the Super Bowl.
Have they really? And what was it that, I forget how many of the last Super Bowl champs have worn white jerseys?
One in the last 10 years, I think. One that has chosen their colored jersey.
And before I forget, I think there's a hockey game going on in front of us.
Oh, yeah. Xaverian unable to keep this one in. 9:15 to go in the third period. Xaverian still holding on by the skin of their teeth to that 4-goal lead. Zach Sylvia turning this one over. Backhanded pass out in front on the rebound.
That's a good save.
Excellent sealing of the pads by Adam Stagnon, and he's able to cover up for a face-off.
Hey, without him playing as well as he had in net, this could easily be 9 or 10 nothing. And
I think we'd have a repeat of the New Bedford debacle here.
He's played really well, and the couple of goals, the 2-on-0 and the one that went over his shoulder, the bullet there. I mean, those are legit. And I don't even think Tuukka Rask could have stopped those. I don't know if that's really safe.
This one goes for an icing against the Hawks.
What about if I said Corey Price?
I think in the Eastern Conference, there's just no one that can hang with, like, Chicago and Anaheim. And
I think Pittsburgh is good, but they're inconsistent. I mean, I've seen them play really well, in which they put 4 up in a matter of 5 minutes, and there's other times that they just look sloppy. Oh, somebody tripped over the blue line.
And Pittsburgh's playing the age-old game of let's score more goals than anyone else and not play defense.
I'm good with that.
Four on 3 up ice for the Boxers. Jalen Bridges with a shot, stick save. The rebound is picked up by the Hawks. Back up ice, 4 on 2 for the Hawks.
Somebody's got to get, there's 2 guys uncovered back there. I mean, that's...
Shot, shoulder save, and a backhanded rebound attempt to the end boards. Stick save again by Stagg. 8 minutes to go now in the third period.
I'm really impressed
now
with him in
Now 2
net.
on 1 for the Hawks. A saucer pass broken up very nicely by Justin Cruikshank. Adam Stagnon, really the last couple of seasons, especially last year, the Boxers had a very good year, getting 8 or 9 wins and heading into the tournament with a winning record. This one off the outside of the apron. Adam Stagnon has been the one constant that has kept the Boxers competitive. So 4-0, 7 minutes to go in the third period. Absolute have to hear your thoughts on the strategy. This is going to be the first penalty of the game. It's going to be a check from behind against Xaverian. Stagnon to the bench for the extra skater. And Brockton will go on a 1 minute and 30-second power play. I believe it's going to be a cross-check called against number 14, Jack Tufts, the senior defenseman. Brockton's power play has been very strong this year. 3 for 5 in the tie against North Quincy. Oh, one-timer just wide.
Number 14, 1.5-minute lineup for cross-check team.
So 6:38 to go.
And that's
1:15 on the power play.
What you notice there's Xaverian just is attacking Brockton in the corner and just putting pressure on him, and that's the difference in the game right now, I think.
Zach Sylvia at the blue line, sends it back around the boards looking for Atten. Number 6 rings it around the boards where it's stopped, at least initially, by the Boxers. Now will re-enter Sylvia with a shot deflected by number 3, Adam Cookson.
Oh, one-timer, just missed it.
Now this one pops up and Sylvia will chase this one down with 30 seconds to go on the power play, 5:45 left in the period. Jalen Bridges trying to create some space. He does just that, has his stick held out in front, a shot and a save.
Didn't have much on it. His stick was held a little bit. And that's good effort going down there.
There's been another goaltending change. Colin Walsh now in net for the Hawks.
When did that happen? Probably when we were talking about football.
You know what? I think I saw a goaltender skate out after that penalty was called. That must be when it happened after.
Oh, just made it out of the zone.
So, as an athletic director, head of the program, you might have some thoughts on this. The Bruins waited till the Patriots championship parade had started to announce the firing of head coach Claude Julien.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I know they had been talking about it all season long. And I'm one of those that it's not always the coach. I mean, the coach isn't the one who's out on the ice, not out on the field, not taking the shots. But bottom line is that's where the blame is placed, and that's usually the first one to go.
I personally think they fired the wrong C. I think Cam Neely should have been the first out the door.
Actually, you know who I think they need to take a look at is Don Sweeney. I think that he has made some very questionable moves with some of the personnel that he had, and I think he made more personal decisions than taking back a good look and like what's best for the team. I take a look back at Tyler Seguin. Tyler Seguin was let go because
that was in the Chiarelli era.
Was it? Was that a
This
goal?
one finds the back of the net. Number 10, Shane Connolly, senior forward, has his 4th of the year with 4:08 to go, and Xaverian with now a 5-goal lead.
All right, so even if it's not Don Sweeney, all right, so it's Peter Chiarelli, you get rid of a guy who's going to put up 50 a year. You get 3 guys in return who are no longer on your team.
Right, Riley Smith, Louis Erickson.
They're all gone. So the message that you sent was that, hey, you know, you're going to do things our way, and I get that and I respect that, but you don't have anything to show for it.
Hand pass called against Xaverian. This faceoff will come outside the zone. Number 20, offsetting minor penalties, Peyton Sylvia and Matt Ryan headed to the box. So my thoughts on that are as follows. When you've got someone in the same system for 9 years before they're elevated to GM, the system is not going to change.
No.
And that has been the same with Don Sweeney. And that will be the same with Bruce Cassidy, the new coach of the Bruins, or the interim coach.
Yeah, and you just take a look that they had somebody down in Providence who's now with the Penguins. He's the head coach of the Penguins, and they went off and won a Stanley Cup. Because he brought a system, knew what his players were capable of doing, and that's what they built it around. And I just think the Bruins, the days of them dumping and chasing and beating everybody, they don't have those type players anymore, in my opinion.
I think the worst move of Don Sweeney's possibly brief general manager career here in Boston was signing Adam McQuaid to a 4-year, $16 million contract for a guy that plays like half a season.
Yeah.
But that's been, like I said, the system doesn't change. Peter Chiarelli giving $7 million a year to Tuukka Rask. Excellent toe save there by Stagnon. 4.25 to Zdeno Chara. Number 22 is going to draw a tripping call. That's Ryan Pompicelli. He will be headed to the box for tripping. So Brockton on another power play, their second of the game, 0 for 1. Not a lot of scoring opportunities.
I think it's going to happen right here in this minute and 30.
Brockton calling its timeout and drawing up some strategy. It could. 2:51 to go in the third period, a minute 30. Power play for the Boxers. Pompicelli in the box, the freshman forward for tripping.
So let's just fast forward to April. Bruins don't make the playoffs, which is a very good possibility.
I honestly
what happens next?
I think the Jacobs, it's Jeremy Jacobs, by the way, does not care about hockey.
Oh, it's about money.
It's all about money. Charlie Jacobs is much the same way. He's leading an organization with really no idea or experience of what he's doing. I honestly think you got a clean house. Neely, Sweeney, the whole front office. I would start from the bottom up. And as much I think that the coach should have been fired, it should have been earlier. And at this point in the season, making the playoffs is almost guaranteed to not going to happen. 3-on-2 up ice for the Hawks shorthanded. Number 6 with it, Mercer Mazzaro. And yet another penalty going to be called. Brockton's going to be on a 5-on-3. Slashing going to be called against Tommy Duggan, who had half of Mazzaro's jersey wrapped up in his stick.
Oh, that's about as flagrant as you get.
And it's going to be slashing, and it's going to go against Tommy Duggan. So Brockton with an extended 5-on-3, a minute and 6 seconds of 5-on-3.
We're going to have to build an addition over there if they get any more penalties.
It's like the way the Bruins used to be back in the days when Bruins and Montreal used to be a really heated rivalry back in the late 2000s.
I still remember the game, the most penalty minutes ever in an NHL game against the Minnesota North Stars, and before the puck was even dropped in warm-ups, they started going at it. That's the infamous when John Wensink came in front of the bench and challenged everybody. I think I'm dating myself.
We saw that with the Dallas Stars after Minnesota took a few flights south. A shot and a goal. Brockton's on the board. 5-on-3 goal.
See?
It was Frank Atten, assisted by Zach Sylvia, top shelf. And Brockton will move to a 5-on-4 penalty, power play rather. It's about 34 seconds. Again, MIAA rules state that if a penalty is committed, a player must serve out the entirety of the minute and 30 seconds, regardless of whether a goal is scored. So a player coming from the Xaverian bench replaces Duggan. Covered up by Stagnon. 49 seconds of power play time left for the Boxers. Five to 1 the score. 1:44 to go.
Let's see if they can put another one in the net here.
Marcel Mazzaro into the Xaverian zone with speed.
Assisted by number 18.
That was a hand pass. Looked like one.
That would have been, had the next player to touch the puck been a Xaverian Hawk. Zach Sylvia skating across the high slot was the first player to touch that. 20 seconds left on the power play.
Thank God I have you here. That's all I can say.
The same can be said on the other end.
Thank goodness. I was blaming Don Sweeney for a move that
1 minute to play.
the former GM made. A hand pass that was completely legal.
Power play over, and now a foot race to negate a breakaway. Duggan out of the box. He has it in the Boxer zone. Drop pass to number 15, Will Wolford, the first goal scorer in this game. His shot zings wide. He gets it back behind the net. He hands off to Andrew McInerney. 30 seconds to go in the third period. Against Xaverian 5-1. Looking to add to that last second. Blocker saved by Adam Stagnon. Number 23 on the far boards, Drew Scalaro. Brockton dumps this one down. 3-on-1 for the Boxers, 15 seconds to go. A shot, and this one off the blocker of Walsh and into the protective netting. Brockton with an offensive zone face-off with 11.1 seconds to go. Brockton's next game right here at AZF Arena, Saturday afternoon. The Oliver Ames Tigers come to town.
Actually, we go to them.
We go to them. Well, the school hailing from Easton comes to Brockton as the home team. Buzzer sounds, this one's over. Brockton will head into the weekend with a loss. Brockton had been on a 2-1-2 stretch on the road, beating Durfee and New Bedford and getting a couple ties. They fall to the Xaverian Hawks here at AZF Arena by a score of 5-1. Mr. Caro, what does Brockton need to do to right the ship and really be competitive? Their only 3 wins are against Big 3 divisional opponents.
Yeah, I think what we had said a couple times during the broadcast, they need to be more physical. I mean, they can't sit back and let the action come to them because they're just not deep enough. They have to force some turnovers. They have to press the issue a little bit, especially early on. No, but I like what I saw in the third period. They didn't quit, and they fought hard to the end. And their goaltending it's good. So if he can continue to stay hot, they may surprise somebody in the opening round.
5-1 the final score. Xaverian gets the big win against the Brockton Boxers. For everyone here at Brockton Community Access, our cameraman, Mike the Postman Simmons, my broadcast partner, Kevin Caro, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson, and we will see you next game.